Okay, I'm on, right? Okay. Morning, everybody. Y'all ready to make some biscuits and sausage gravy and have a little bit of fun on here? If y'all are here, thank you for being here. And I hope what I'm doing can help y'all. Anybody that wants to know how to do some home cooking or just how to make certain meals, I'm hoping that I can be of some kind of help to y'all. So first what I did, I preheated my oven to 400 for the biscuits. I greased 2 pans about this size just with a little bit of oil. You don't want to use butter because butter has a tendency to burn and you don't want that for your biscuits. Also, I have a little cutting board, plastic cutting board mat with a piece of parchment paper. That's what we're gonna roll them out on because it makes your cleanup a lot easier. And I don't have a biscuit cutter. I just use the bottom of the glass, so I dip in flour. So that's what all of this is right here. And we're gonna get the, like I said, the biscuits made first, and then we will do the gravy. So again, I think I specified to everybody that you need to sift your flour before you use it. So what I'm using for this particular recipe, and I've already sifted the flour here, and I'm going to measure again to show you all the difference in your measurements. Let's see. Let's a little bit more in there. Okay. Here's 1 cup. And it's fine to go ahead and put it in like that because we're going to work the shortening into it, or your lard, whatever you have. Here's your 2nd cup. And keep in mind that I already measured 3 cups of this, so, and then sifted it. And here's what you've got, the difference in your cups right here. From sifting it and not sifting it, this is the difference. This is how much difference you're going to get in a measurement. So make sure you sift it. And this was, I have self-rising flour here that I use. But like I said, you can Google it on the internet, and it'll tell you how to make the self-rising flour with regular flour. And it's just regular flour, baking powder, and salt. And the main thing to do is to make sure your baking powder is good, that it doesn't have an expiration date on or close to that. Like I told y'all yesterday, in case anybody wasn't here yesterday, make sure that your baking soda, your baking powder, those products, and your flour and your corn meal, make sure those products are up to date. It's very important, especially with any of the leavening ingredients, even your yeast, if you use yeast ingredients, because it can make the difference in something turning out and something being a flop. But again, if you just got here, I had sifted 3 cups of flour, and I just now measured 3 cups in here. And this is the difference when you sift and you don't sift. I've got probably, I'm going to say, a good 1/2 cup or a little bit more. So this is what I'll be using to put on the cutting board for the biscuits. So I'm going to go ahead and I may need to use a little bit more on there as I work it through, but I'll wait and see about that. So this is going to be ready to get the biscuits rolled out on. I'm going to keep this here. And I don't use a biscuit cutter. I use this cup, and I just dip it in flour as I go. And it works pretty good. And here's my 2 lightly greased with oil baking dishes or baking pans. The oven's at 400. So what I'm going to do, I have right here, I have 6 tablespoons of Crisco. And I'm going to start out this. I may need a little bit more. It depends on your weather. Again, the flour, I don't know. It seems the humidity here where I live in Texas, it just has a lot of differences sometimes. I mean, I have never tried, I know how to make divinity, never tried it here because it's either, there's too much dampness and it's a cold, damp air, or it's it's just too hot and it just doesn't work. And so back home when I lived in Missouri, we always had good winter months. And so that's what I did. So you don't want to overwork anything, especially after we put the buttermilk in. But it should look about the consistency of, when you get it worked in, make sure you go to the bottom and you turn your flour back up to the top and you get that all worked in. So I needed to work that just a little bit more. You want it about the size of a pea shape in here when it crumbles. And like I said, if it isn't, you have to add just a tiny bit more. Don't do any more than a tablespoon at a time because you can get too much. And then your ingredients. I take and make a little well in the middle. And then I start out. This is actually a little, about a cup and a fourth of buttermilk here. And I'm going to just use a little bit at a time. I probably got about almost 3/4 of a cup in there because that's usually what it always needs. So, and you start working that in. And you want it to be, see, it's just not there. It's not holding the shape. So I need to put that extra in there. Work some more of that in. Go to like I said, that's why I got a glove on. Go to the bottom of your bowl. I'm using this measuring pitch right here. It'd be easier for y'all to see. And you want it to where it's going to hold together a tiny bit more in there. Just drizzling that in until it gets, and I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. You don't want it dry. You really want your biscuit dough moist. You don't want it dry at all. So it's going to take every bit of that in here to get it where I want it. So measurements on that are pretty close most of the time. You just have to go to the bottom and make sure you work everything in. And then it's going to be, I want it to be where when you pick it up, you can pretty well, it's soft, but you can hold it without it falling apart on your hand. And just bring it over here on your floured surface. A little bit more in there. And I've got a glob of it on this glove, so get that off. Then we're going to take, and I'm going to turn it over on some of this floured surface like this. And like I said, you don't overwork it. Put a little bit more flour in there if you need it, because you're going to want to then just take it and just pat it out like this. That's what I do. About half an inch, something like that, because it depends on how many biscuits you want. And again, might need a little bit more flour here. And you just start and go to the edge and cut them out the closest you can to the edge. And I might not even need both of those pans because I'm actually making bigger biscuits today than I normally make. So I might not even need both of my pans, but don't overcrowd them in your pan either. Depending, you can make them a little smaller depending on the size of your family. And sometimes they won't exactly hold their shape, which is fine. Might have that happen all the time. And you just take that and just make it back out into that biscuit and just put it in there like that. It's not hurting anything. And I need a little bit more flour over here because it's sticking. And I just go on and dip them. And I'm probably only going to use one pan. But if you're going to make them smaller, you're going to get 12. This is going to amount to 6. Maybe a little bit, maybe a couple more. Let me see what I can do here. I'm going to cut this out. Probably about, you're going to get closer to maybe 7 on this. And then you'll take the little pieces you had left, work them together just a tiny bit. And then you can take and get you at least one more biscuit out of that, which I have here. Like that. And I'll just take, well, it's not wanting to hold. I'm just going to take and work with my hand. I've got my glove too wet. But just do it about like this. And like I said, you're going to have more than one. If you cut them smaller, you're going to have more. I'm going to take one of these out and put it over here with this one. And that way they've got a little bit more room. So I actually got 7 biscuits out of that. You'll get more if you make them smaller, but that was with that amount. And double it up if you're having a bunch of people. Just double your recipe up on everything I just told you, which was the 3 cups of the self-rising flour, and I used the 6 tablespoons of Crisco, and I had about a cup enough worth of buttermilk, and it took all of that today. But it's kind of it acts like it's wanting to still storm, and it hasn't done it. I'm going to go ahead and take my glove off, and I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the oven so they can get started baking. And again, that oven, let me wash my hands off. That oven's on 400. And I actually took and made, I got a roll of sausage. I'm going to put my burner on medium over here. And I got a roll of sausage. I'll show you this in just a minute. Let me get this mess out of the way first. But see, you can just take this and just fold that up, and you have a little bit of a mess, but not near like you would if you didn't put anything down there at all. I mean, it makes a difference. Get the stuff out of the way. I do like to keep my surfaces clean as I go along, which I think is good for anybody to do. Make sure your surfaces are clean. And this is the patties I have. I took the end pieces, and I have them over here in my skillet, which I'll show you. Okay. Get that out of the way. Sorry, guys. I just want that to be a mess because we're going to do the chef salad, too. Get this out of your way. Okay. This is the leftover flour, and I'm not going to use the self-rising flour for the thickening for the sausage gravy, but I'm going to put this in the thing and put it back because it still can be used. Here's the 6 patties. I have my skillet heating. I put the end pieces like this. Put the end pieces over here, and I'm going to let them cook first, and then I'm going to put the patties in. I also have some milk ready over there. Actually, it's a little bit of evaporated milk I had left from the pineapple cake, and I added some milk to that. And whatever I don't use, I'll put in a container and use it for something. Probably tomorrow, like for scrambled eggs or something. I always have something come up that I use the stuff. But always try to make sure that you try not to waste your products and stuff. If you can, make them stretch as much as you can. And that's actually what I'm going to show you about the chef salad. Why I'm waiting for that sausage to cook, and I can put the patties on. And I'm going to show you what I did. The way the prep work, so you know. And I will put it together afterwards. So what I have here, to make it easy on myself, I'm going to show you about what the cost is. I took some leaf lettuce and a little bunch of the romaine. Now, in the romaine, there was a package of 3 for $1.50. I used 1, so that's 50 cents. And the green leaf lettuce was $1.59. So you've got $2.10 here, just in your lettuce. So get your own lettuce, or just clean it good, you know, and let it get cold in the refrigerator. It'll crisp up. This is pretty good right now because I did it a little bit earlier. But I wanted to show you that because this is going to be the basis for your chef salad. And I told you that grandkids had some roasted tier chicken from Walmart yesterday. They liked that, and they had some of that. And so I took some of it that was left, and I've got it cut in pieces. I had some ham, I had pieces, some cube cheese, and I had 4 pieces of bacon that I fixed. to crisp up. That's going to be the stuff that's going to go in the salad in a little bit. I'm not going to do this yet, but I'm just walking you through what I got ready. And I did take and I took and sliced a half of a tomato that was left about like this. And that was maybe 30 cents for the red, because that tomato was 60 cents and it was half of it. I took a piece of a red onion, made some little onion rings from the shish kebabs that I used yesterday. I hard boiled 4 eggs. We're going to use that. And from the shish kebabs, I used 3 of the little pepper things I had left that was in that bag. And I shredded up 1 carrot. So the carrot, it was 80 cents for the bag, and I used 1 carrot. There was 8 in there. You're talking 10 cents. And with the onion, it was left. That onion was, I think it was 72 cents for that big red onion. I used it for the shish kebabs and this, and I still have some left. Like I said, that's about 30 cents worth of tomato. Might be 20 cents worth of little peppers. And the eggs, you're talking probably 75 cents. And like I said, there was leftover roasted tier chicken, the bacon, the ham was a little bit left over. All together on the meat, minus because we've already used it, in the cheese, I'm thinking you probably have probably $1.50 on the chicken. There was probably $1.25 on the ham that was left. The little cubes of cheese, maybe 75 cents. The bacon, roughly about, probably, I don't know. I get the thin slice, maybe 50, 60 cents. Things are getting a little higher. So anyway, I've got this stuff all stacked and ready. Let me check this stuff. Sausage that I got frying. And when I learned to move this tripod, I'll put you over here by the stove, that I'm just, I don't want to get this ready, because I want to cook this first. I'm going to take it up and I'm going to cook the sausage patties. And then this is, I made some ranch dressing. And I bought a box of 4 of the ranch packets at Walmart. It's their brand, the Great Value brand, was $1.99. And there's 4 in there. So you're talking 50 cents for the package. I had mayonnaise in there. I used about 3/4 cups of mayonnaise. And I already had the buttermilk from the biscuits that I had, and from other things I've used it for this week. So I mean, I might, there's let me see it, about a cup of buttermilk. So to make this, I'm thinking just roughly, it's probably 50, 35, $20. You probably got, for this ranch dressing, I'm thinking about $1.10 there, instead of buying a bottle of it. Ranch dressing, I noticed a bottle here in the store, it was almost $6 for a bottle of it. I thought, no way. And I told you also, check this again, about the orange juice. Also, that not to buy the orange juices that are in your cooler, you know, it's already made up, pre-made stuff, because you can buy the frozen orange juices that are, they have with pulp, without pulp, and all that. I took and made, and I already had a little glass of it this morning. I took 1 can of that with the 3.5 cans of my water from, filtered water from my refrigerator. This is what you have in this picture. For a jug of this in the store, it's $3 to $4.50. This was $1.48 plus my filtered water. So if you want to save money, just putting some ideas out there for y'all. It helps a lot if you can do that in the long run, because it adds up. I mean, you can buy actually 3 cans for what you would pay for 1 jug, and you're going to get those jugs that measure out to that. You're getting about the same amount. So anyway, I just, if you can do what you want, but cost being the way it is and family stuff, to me is just easier way to go. Now I took that sausage out, which I'll show you in a minute. I want to get these sausage patties going, because the kids are going to have sausage and biscuits. We're going to have some sausage gravy. And if somebody wants an extra piece of sausage, it's here. But I don't use that much. You can put it all in for your gravy if you want, and you don't want to mess with frying your sausage patties. You can do that. You don't have to. This is just an extra step I'm doing because a lot of times kids don't like gravy and stuff. Stick this stuff back in the refrigerator so it doesn't get hot. Okay. I don't know. Let me check on this real quick. I don't know if Mensa's in here or not. She's going to try to be here. If not, she'll watch it later. I wanted to show you. You said you like refrigerator art. My grandson drew this for you. And it's two parents, the mother and the father, and a little girl and a little boy. They're in a courtroom where a judge is deciding about different things to go on in the family. Bring it a little closer. Maybe you can see this. Like this. And he's 11 years old, guys. So anyway, he did this. And here is the judge over here listening to the case. So I told him what MM does in the way of helping children and families and stuff. So he decided to draw this picture for her. So I want to let you know he drew that for you. So it's refrigerator art. And a few years ago, when my kids did a thing for one of my birthdays, they got me a cane and just to be funny, a cane. And they got this after they decorated. It says caution senior driver on my refrigerator. So that's a little bit more of the stuff we have on there. But I wanted to let her know that he did do that. Let me check on the sausage again. You want, when you cook it for the gravy, you do want it cut up. You want it done. You want it about like this. Like I'm showing you here on the plate. You want it, make sure it's cooked, because sausage, you don't want to eat sausage if it's not cooked. You can do this and make exactly the same thing and use hamburger meat instead. And you just have to season it up, your gravy up more with some salt and pepper, because it's not just already pretty well seasoned, which I'm going to taste anyway. But I mean, you can also make a gravy out of that and have it over toast or over biscuits. Let me flip these real quick. They need to be turned over. Make sure you keep an eye on your biscuits. They're not near done, but they're raising because right at the end, in a few more minutes, I'm going to take them out and take a little cloth, like I told you, lady showed me, or she showed everybody on YouTube. She's no longer living, but I'll send a tribute out to her. Her name is Phyllis Stokes, and she had Southern Frugal. She has a lot of good recipes. I think her son has took over continuing that, and he's cooking, but I learned this tip from her because I don't like using pastry brushes either. I agree with you. There's no way that you can really sanitize them, and sometimes the bristles will fall out and you may not even realize it's got in something. But that's just a tip. Like I said, it's just things I've learned, and I'm just willing to share it. But when it gets time to do the biscuit, I'm going to take, you can take a little bit, I'll get it ready. I'm going to take a little bit of butter that last few minutes, and I'm going to put over the top of the biscuits with that instead of using that pastry brush. And like I said, this is what she showed people to do, and so they don't have to worry about using pastry brushes where the bristles will fall out. And it's like she said, even with the dishwasher, it's very hard to get them sanitized and get them really whatever you use. You maybe use different things, to brush them with, and maybe that's not going to come out. So I'm just saying that was the tip she had. I'm just passing it on. It's something that I learned. So check this sausage again, because I got to have a little bit of grease for my gravy. And this, actually the sausage is very lean. So I'm gonna have to have put some vegetable oil in with it a little bit. You'll get a little bit of the flavor from your sausage that crumbles. But if you don't have enough of the grease, depending on how much gravy you want, then that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to end up just adding a little bit of oil to it at a time. And of course, I'll show you the consistency. And let me get a little bit of flour ready for when I get ready to thicken this. I just take a little bit out. And this is regular all-purpose flour. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna need. So I'm gonna roughly take I'm using a regular spoon like this. I don't use measuring spoons very often, but I'm gonna put this big serving spoon. And I'm kind of leveling it off a little bit. I'm gonna put about 3 in there first to see how that's gonna do. It should be fine on the thickening for what the gravy I'm gonna make. Then too, it depends on how thick you want your gravy, and how many people you're cooking for. Like I said on the biscuits, it's the same thing. I just happen to use that bigger glass today. I didn't even think about it. Normally, I will use something this size of this glass here. So you're going to get, instead of 7, you're going to get probably, I'm going to say 14 biscuits out of that. And you can even make them smaller, depending on what you want. You know, and you can freeze these biscuits too. The biscuits, you can cool them. You can put them in a freezer bag. And that way you can take 1 or 2 out as you want them, instead of, don't throw them out, because you can use them, you know. Let me pull this out though, because I want to test them. And they're, like I said, they're getting there. But I want to put this butter on the top to kind of help them brown a little on here. And you're not hurting anything at all. This is a paper towel. You're just dipping the butter in it. You're not contaminating anything at all. And then I'm going to turn it over when I bring the other one out and do it on the other side. So if I picked up any particles of the biscuit from that, it's not going to be in my butter, but I'm sure it's not anyway. Put them back in. And as you can see, my one biscuit's kind of big, and I kind of threw it together, but it's okay. But you can sure eat them, you know, nothing wrong with them. And it's got a little piece that's actually, I don't fell off in here, but you're going to see they're going to be real moist on the inside, and guys, they're worth it. They are so good. Let me turn this over one more time, get a little more butter. You can eat them with just honey and butter. Let them cool just a tiny bit and mix you up a little bit of butter and honey and put on there, or a little bit of butter and jelly or whatever you may want to put on there. Okay, guys, let me take this sausage up real quick. I believe it's done. My stove is getting old. The stove is, knock on wood, was bought in 1990. So, and it's had the heating coil replaced in it once. So, and that was $80, and we just pulled it out and put a new one in. So, we've had the oven for, my husband got that for me for our first anniversary. It's been a good stove. So anyway, I've used it all these years. There's your sausage patties. And then let me see here. Let me get this ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the meat back in for the sausage gravy. And I am going to turn that down to medium because I'm gonna thicken this. And like I said, there's not a lot of grease from the sausage. Got that a little bit hot. Set it off. Let it cool down a minute. And then you put it back on if it gets too hot so it doesn't burn anything, it doesn't burn you. Let me throw this around, then I'll be able to tell you about how much I had to add. But if you're frying more crumbling sausage, it will probably get a little bit more juice out of it, or oil out of it from it. But always remember, you can take and let me get this off. I don't want to start a fire. Put a little tiny bit more in, and then I'm going to bring some flour over here and thicken it. Sorry I can't be right there, but I'll show you how much I use. And then I sprinkle it over the top because it's going to cook down. It's not going to hurt anything. I put, not quite 3 of those. And I'm going to see how thick the consistency of that's going to get. And I'll bring it over and show you before I add milk. Because I got to get the milk. If you want to cook your, I'm going to use all that flour. You want to be sure and cook the rawness of your flour out before you add milk. You don't want it to taste like raw flour. And I'll show you. Now, see, this is about what it's looking like on here. It's kind of getting thick and white and bubbly on there. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit so it can get a little hotter, and I can start adding some milk to it. And then I will show you where I'm at on that. Let's see these. And biscuits are turning brown a little bit more. So give it another couple of minutes. So this is getting real hot. And it's cooking that off. And you're going to slowly, you don't want it where it's being hot and it's going to flash up, back on your face. And I make a mess sometimes when I'm cooking. And I put, I'll show you how much milk, because I had about 3 cups in there. Let me stir this around. Go from the bottom and work your flour into your gravy mixture. You may have to add more, but you want to don't overdo it, because you can always add more milk. But trying to go back and add more flour is not good, because it's going to taste raw again. And it's kind of hard to, you might get clumpy and everything. You see here, like that's where it's splattered, and turn it off and take my biscuits out here in just a minute. I want to see how this is doing. And it doesn't set real good on this burner. And I'm going to have to add a little bit more milk. I already tell it's getting too thick on me. And I'm going to taste this before I get finished, because I'm going to want, you may want some, add more pepper. It may need pepper and salt, I'm not sure, but depending on the sausage, I'm not going to do that till I see where I'm at with the seasoning. But with the hamburger meat, I said you could take and cook for in there instead. You do have to salt and pepper that, because that's not seasoned. So there is no seasoning in that. It's starting to get a little thicker. You don't want it too thick, because you're going to have poured over biscuits. So you want it where it's going to go over your biscuits without being, you don't want it watery, but you don't want it real thin either. And it's already bubbling up, getting hot. And it has been. I'm going to hold my skillet so it quits thumping. So, and it's turned a little brown color because I put the flour down. And that's what you want. I'm going to pull this off to the side. And what I'm going to do is get a spoon and taste it. I'm going to see if I need any salt or pepper in it. And then I will show it to you. And it definitely needs salt and pepper, because it's kind of flat from, it just needs it. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon of pepper in that. And I'm going to stir in at first, half a teaspoon of salt, and then taste it and see where I'm at on that. So put it back on. I might have to add still a little more milk. I don't think so, but I might. Yeah. Let me get another spoon and taste that again. I don't want to put my same spoon in. I tasted it first. Still needs a tiny bit more salt. Got another half teaspoon of salt. So that needed a teaspoon of salt and about a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to show you. And I'm still going to add just a tiny bit more of this milk mixture, which I've used about all that, which was about 3 cups of that. And I turned the oven off, just giving those biscuits a chance to brown a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out. See, they're lightly brown now. Here. I'm pulling, my oven's already off. And they're lightly brown in color. And they did come up. And the cost on those biscuits, let me watch this gravy. The cost on the biscuits was, oh man, I bet the buttermilk, I'm thinking maybe, shoot, 65 cents on the buttermilk, and then the flour and the shortening, maybe about 50 cents on the shortening. You probably don't have any more than $1.50 tied up in those biscuits, and you can't buy that many for $1.50. You just can't. Now I'm going to bring this over to my bowl, and I'll show you what it looks like. So you will know the thickness of it. Right here. And I've got about this much gravy out of it, which you can make more. You just have to add more to it. And again, I'm going to taste this again, make sure it's where I want it. That's perfect. Here's the gravy, sausage patties. Here's your biscuits. And see, they'll come right up out of the pan. Look, they come right up. And they're brown on the bottom. That's why I say don't use butter, because they will burn. See, I just used to put a little bit of oil in there and used it. And I let them usually cool a bit before I slice them in half, unless a lot of people don't mind. I'll just go ahead and eat them like that and crumble them up. They're really a good biscuit. They're nice and airy on the inside. They're not heavy at all. So anyway, that's just a tip for you on that. So let me get the salad out and we'll put that together. And tomorrow, I haven't talked to yet. I'll have to see what time she's going live tomorrow. And let me work around that, and I'll post it. I'm going to make the chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, and you can fix whatever side vegetable you want. And I'm going to fix that coleslaw mixture that I told you about that my daughter makes with the slicing the thin cabbage, and she uses avocados in them, lime juice, cilantro, and I can't remember what else, but it's really good. A little bit of salt and pepper. It's really good. It just breaks the heaviness of anything you're using for a meal that's heavy, like chicken fried steak would be. Or if you, and also with it, if my fan is knocking all my stuff off here, it would be good to even take probably on a picnic, because it doesn't have any mayonnaise in it. So yeah, it would be. So here, I'm going to show you what this ranch dressing, or the dressing looks like. I don't know where all my lids are, but they always crack or something. But here, I've got this. It's a ranch dressing. This is a packet of the Great Value brand at Walmart's ranch dressing mix. Put my own mayonnaise, my own buttermilk in there, and that's all there is. And you've got a container like this, and compared to what this is, you're probably talking $1, $1.25 maybe here, compared to a bottle that's $6 something a bottle now in the store. It's ridiculous. Same thing that I showed you with your orange juice. A can a frozen concentrated. They have the ones with pulp, without pulp, extra calcium, all that, just still frozen. This $1.48, and the filtered water in my refrigerator, right here, this much. So you can buy 3 cans of that for what you get cheaper brand at the orange juice jug in the store is. And I'm talking about a jug that's the size of this buttermilk here. This size. They're $3.50 and $4, $4.50, $5 at the store. It's ridiculous. So anyway, that's on the juice, which we're gonna have that with breakfast here in a little bit. And let me finish the salad real quick for you. So I told you about the cost of the lettuce here. And like I said, I cleaned it and cut it up, just getting crisper. And what I'm gonna do, what you'll do when you put this together, which I'm gonna go ahead and do, I just take and I put, this is ham that we had. I spread it out like here on the top, which I have quite a bit here because this is gonna be our dinner tonight. I took the roasted tier chicken that I had left from the kids yesterday. That chicken was $5.50. You can't even buy them for that and cook them. So they had most of that. And I took some of the chicken off of that. And here's your chicken that you had. I mean, this is all good stuff, guys. It's use what you have, you know, like from other things, you know, and stuff. Just to save money, use it up, you know. Like I said, and it I didn't get the piece of the chicken skin off that one anyway, but I'm just adding this and it's fully cooked and everything. So then I took 4 pieces of bacon and I cooked it in the microwave on 4 minutes. It's the thin bacon, and I drained it, which it didn't have hardly anything in it anyway, to give it another little taste, another little crunch factor, something, you know, you're gonna bite into on here. And I just take that and put that on there like that. And we're going to take this. And then here is your cheese, some cube cheese, and I had left in there. Put that in there. Cube cheese from 4th of July in a bag. And I still got another half the bag in there. You can add more cheese if you want. It's up to you. Just showing a little bit of what I'm doing. Then I'm going to take just some purple onion rings I had left, the stuff I had left from the shish kebabs I made yesterday. Just using up some things like that will save you. And this is going to get stirred up too, you know, and tossed with the dressing. I'm just trying to make it look pretty, you know, like you want to make something look appetizing. I took 1 carrot, grated it. That cost me 10 cents. And these little pepper things, I took 3 of them that was left from the shish kebab. I had a half a tomato left that we had from bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches the other day. So I'm just putting that right on the top here. I just took and cut it in little nice pieces like this. And yes, guys, I'm using my hands. I'm sorry. It's a lot easier to arrange it like that, other than when I get ready to cut the hard-boiled eggs. The hard-boiled eggs, okay. I didn't use a rice cooker, okay? I didn't do that. I just put it in a pan, put water on it, put it on the burner, and I boiled them. I didn't turn them off. I boiled my eggs. I boiled them for till the water was down to about like this in that little pan. It was a little pan like, I'll show you. Cooked them in this one here. And I had the water up to here, right here, and I waited till it was down to there. And I turned it off, let them sit there for a little bit. Then I took them over to the sink, and I got the hot water off of them, run cold water on them for a little bit, just cool them down. Then I cracked the shells, and I let them sit there in some cold water, not ice water, just cold water. And when I went to cook or to peel them, I just took, and they're fine on the inside. You'll see, look like this. They're fine. I'm just going to put these on the top. I took and peel them underneath a very slow stream of cold water, and they do just fine. Just let them cool in that water. And once you crack those shells, it helps cool them down. You don't have to go through a big procedure to do eggs. You just don't. You just don't have to do that. Anyway, and this is just as easy as using a rice cooker, I would think. I don't know. Never thought about even doing that. Anyway, like some people have. So here's your salad. This is going to be our supper tonight. I've got the dressing made. So that's going to be our, since we're having a late breakfast, that's what we're going to do. And I have some little thin pieces of paper I bought at the dollar store one day. It's not real good, but I'm using it up. But it's fine for things like this to cover it up. You know, the whole box was $1. And there's several. Most of the time we wrap baked potatoes in it, but I'm not doing a lot of those because it heats the house up too much. And we've been having 105, 107 degree temperature here. Just not a good idea, you know, to do that. So I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator. So that's done. Now I'll take for y'all, and I'll put, let me show you this. And I'm cleaning the mess up, and we'll sit down and have breakfast here. I'm going to take a biscuit and run a knife through it like this. There you go, like this. And then you can put that gravy that's there. Take and put your gravy over it. And there's your breakfast. And sausage patties, and kids can have it with the biscuit or whatever they want, you know, even, I don't know if they want it with the biscuit, but whatever. So anyway, that's where it's at on that. And you can see the amount of time. Yes, a little bit of prep time. Most of the time was prepping. It just is, it's prepping. But you get it done, and once you get it done, and the expense you pay and stuff on it, I'm telling you guys, it's just much better just to try to do some of your own home cooking from scratch, because it's going to end up saving you a lot of money in the end. And people are going to enjoy it too. And you can tell them, no, I made that. You didn't go run out and buy it, you made it. And also you're using up all kinds of products that you had left over, and those are not going to waste. So tomorrow, I will post a time tomorrow for the chicken fried steak. And like I said, we're going to make a little bit of coleslaw, mashed potatoes and gravy. And I think we're going to have, I like peas, kids like corn, and others like corn. So I'll probably just end up having both vegetables tomorrow. You can have whatever you want, even fresh asparagus. Cook some broccoli to go with it, you know. Broccoli and cauliflower. I mean, whatever you want. Cook some squash to go with it as a side. But I mean, it's just something. I'm doing the coleslaw because, like I said, it breaks the heaviness of the chicken fried steak and the mashed potatoes and gravy. And I'm going to do the mashed potatoes from scratch because I've had people ask about that, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So anyway, I hope y'all have a good day. Whatever you're doing, you know, enjoy. And I will be here tomorrow. Until then, everybody have a good evening. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.